What's up, Flex Gamers? My name's Devin Bowers, aka FlashBarricade. Welcome back to FGTV, the one and only channel bringing the two mega powers of fitness and gaming together. It's been a little while, guys, and you know what? This just came in the mail, and we figured what better way to hop into some content than to bring you along for the unboxing. So obviously I've already opened the box, I've organized some of the components and everything like that, but I figured I would go ahead and show you kind of what it has to offer. So in front of us is a game called Windward. Came out a couple years ago, the original, from a company called Eldorado Games, and this is their brand new expansion that just came out this year via Kickstarter. Called Treacherous Skies. Now, what I would like to do is take you top to bottom from the inside of the box, go over the organization, as well as the components that are available in this box, and then kind of give you a little sneak peek on what the expansion has to offer. And then at the very end of the video, kind of wrap up my thoughts and see what you guys think. So if you like this video, please help a kid out, like, comment, subscribe, and definitely, throw some love in the comment if you guys were able to get this edition, or if you are a fan of the original and are interested in hopefully getting this. From what I understand, the company is only releasing the Kickstarter edition right now, so these are a hot commodity and definitely hard to come by. So if you're able to pick up your hands on them, I was fortunate enough. The user goes by the name of KenDog. KenDog, I'm giving you a shout out, homie. Thank you so much for helping me get this edition of Windward. But if you guys are looking for the edition, obviously there's things like eBay. I've had kind of bad luck with eBay when it comes to Windward, just because people are understanding the supply and demand of these things and hawking up the prices to boot. So I would definitely check out boardgamegeek.com and look up Windward and see if you can find any of the shopping through there with listings that are done from users themselves. And usually it's like a PayPal, Venmo kind of a deal. So KenDog, thank you so much, homie, for setting me up and being able to get me this edition. It's not going anywhere. It's staying in my collection. But yeah, let's go ahead and take you guys through the Treacherous Skies.
On the dangerous, gaseous planet of Celus, valuable gas keeps everything afloat in the skies. Without it, the cities and their citizens would plummet into the scalding hot core of the planet. The only usable source of this gas is found within cresters, the monstrous flying beasts that patrol the skies of Celus. You are the captain of a ship, and you must hunt these vicious cresters to bring gas back to the city. Players are competing captains of their own specialized ship, each with a unique ability. As you hire crew and gather supplies, your ship becomes more and more powerful. Sail the world of Celus by using cunning maneuvers to harness the power of the wind. Give strategic orders to your crew to optimize your time in the dangerous skies. Commandeer your opponent's treasure by defeating them in battle, using cannons and combat supplies. Immerse yourself in a world of valor, innovation, cunning, and strategy on your journey to master the skies in Windward.
All right, so right off the bat, looking at the quality and the artwork, it's absolutely stunning. It's a very beautiful box, beautiful artwork all around. It does have kind of that almost like a linen feel on the outside of the case. You can see we have a nice little note to the captains of Celus from the creators themselves. Just some extra notes on what to do with the bases and things like that. And I wrote some notes on the back for some additional things that did not happen to show up in the main rule book. First piece that we have here is the one versus all, which is an additional mode that is offered within the actual rule set. And then if you turn it over, we have the Automa rules, which basically now with the expansion allows you to use the Raider class as a NPC or a non-playable character. I will say my only critique with this is that it is a little flimsy. It's printed on kind of something similar to a cardstock, and it does not match the same kind of feel and vibe as the ship boards or even the new scout boards. It would have been nice to see this kind of more fleshed out. The only reason I can assume that they may have done something like this was to manage the overall size of the box as well. If the dimensions of the box had already been planned out and needed to find space to fit these things. Because even with the lid on the box itself, the box does sit, the lid sits about a centimeter off of the base. So there is somewhat of a space constraint. And then we have our rule books. So it does come with a variation of the original rule book, and then it comes with what they call the module for the updated expansion of Treacherous Skies, and different play modes as well. So moving past the rule books, we have our ships. I mean, how beautiful is this, guys? This is just, when I put this together, it just spoke to my soul. The organization of the box overall is stunning, but this just was absolutely beautiful. I mean, from having a space for all the longboats, including the achievement tokens, you have your main ship as well as your mate minis, and then your included ship markers for each of the different classes. And I think what they did here was absolutely beautiful. I did get the hand-painted ships added. I actually had to do quite a bit of scouring to find these. But once again, like I had mentioned before, definitely check out boardgamegeek.com because there are different users posting different things there. And so these are the hand painting ships. I don't find them to be very well hand painted. I do intend to do my own version of the miniatures themselves. I'm going to paint them myself, so I'm not too worried about it. But I did find that these miniatures are a little bit bigger, and the quality seems to be a little bit better than the original ships that they offered with this box set. But in any case, moving past the ships, we do have our next level here. And I just absolutely love how this works out, especially when you're about to hop into a game and somebody picks their colors. You can just kind of hand them the tray and get them set up and started with their class. And once again, this is the Raider class here. Quite a beautiful ship model. I really loved what they had done with this model. And then they also include the additional elevations for the class within the setup. I did forget to mention, but each of the ships also come with the new class that the expansion adds upon, and it's the Scout class that sits at the third elevation. And third elevation is kind of a big deal with the new module, and plays quite a big role. But moving on, we have the next level of the board, and like I said, I mean, the organization for this was just next to none. It was really great how they went about setting all of this up. So you have all your gray cresters in the new locations. You have your additional tiles, which are an addition with the expansion that's set on top of your drift tiles on the board. You have 2 white cresters now. One came with an additional, look to it, and then you have a blue crester and the new Kulkra, which is the main beastie of the campaign. The white cresters aren't as scary anymore as the new Kulkra. But as you can see here, we have a place now for all of our pieces, and I think this is absolutely amazing what they've done here. You can literally take these pieces out and set them on the board and use this as a really great management tool. You have your +2s, your coffees, and your cannons as well as gas, and they sit really nicely in this little plastic piece. And then you also have your crester teeth, your grays and your reds, as well as your life tokens and your researcher tokens. So moving on, one thing they did for the expansion was add a black market, and now if any of you are familiar with the original, what they did do differently was, in the original they had a little tiny card which basically managed everything that you could possibly do at the spaceport, and now they added a whole new function which I'll get to afterwards, but in explanation of that, they did something similar with the black market. So this is an additional space station space that the player is able to move towards. So you have treasure tokens that you can get, as well as what they're worth. There is an additional side here for when you're playing with the Kolkra that you can play, and there's also contracts now that you're able to add to the game. One complaint that I do have is that I have seen other games include full metal pieces, and what they did include with this set for treasure pieces is kind of these cardboard pieces that you end up having to pop out of a relief to use into this space. And they, even though they're strong with their size, they do feel kind of fragile. But with the Kickstarter, you were able to add these metal treasure tokens to your set, and these treasure tokens just turned out really great. They're made out of metal. They have a really cool sound when you're clanking them around the map, and they're just a little bit more complete of a piece as to what you get with the cardboard piece here. And so I really do wish that they had done kind of a complete set for the treasure coins, especially for the Kickstarters, maybe upgrading the entire set to metal coins and then allowing you to add metal coins for additional. They did that similar with their battle dice, where you get a set of standard battle dice, but then you can add an additional set. I wish they had started with metal coins in the overall box and then allowed you to add more to them, because it is quite a different feeling when you have the metal coins versus the cardboard. So that is the black market space. You have all of your red cresters. You have your space station, which I really do appreciate now that you don't have to pull out the flag and everything every time that you have to do with the original. And then you have a space for the new black market space station. Moving past this panel, we have all of our battle dice. I was able to, with the addition I was getting, it has the original set of battle dice, and then it has the updated red set of battle dice that came, that was available during the pledge. And then you have your wind dice as well, but this is really what shines in the new edition. So this is the new space station space that sits on your game table and basically allows you to pull cards a little bit more effectively, as well as has a new kind of visual system for how you go about these things. So you have your event cards back here, which the event cards are really a great addition to the expansion space and to the game overall. I think they did a great job with these. Everything has a great feel, and your event card sits kind of at the top there while you're in play. You have all of your supply cards across, as well as your crew members that you can hire. And they did a really great job of creating, so if you can see under here, there's almost like a little relief, and the quality of life for it to where you can essentially press on any location and be able to effectively grab these things out of here without having to mess with that is really a beautiful thing. Underneath the tracker for what you can spend at the space station is the original notoriety board. And when I say original, is because they added a new notoriety tract that allows you to go a little bit further in your game. But yeah, I mean, you know, everything just stays nice and neat. You know, you don't have to worry about, I mean, with my original set, I mean, I had my cards rubber band together. I had all of my tokens in plastic baggies, as well as, you know, some of my other tokens within the box, just to kind of manage everything. And the way they went about managing this box just really is efficient. So moving on to the next level here, we do have our board pieces. Standard board pieces, very much the same to what was in the original game. You do have your bigger map on one side, and then the single player smaller map on the other. And then getting down to the very bottom, we have the new speed tracker, which allows you to track your speed you can pass this around the table to everybody, and that'll manage how they move with their speed, or you can use this for the Automa rules and basically track the speed of the NPC playable character. Underneath that, you have all of your ship tokens, or ship cards. And this is kind of what I'm talking about before with the quality. As you can see, I mean, how thick these are. These are, really sturdy, almost cardboard pieces with really beautiful artwork on the back of each individual piece of them. But this is what I was kind of talking about with the one versus actions as well as the Kulkra. It really would have been nice to have that harder piece just to make it feel like it was a little bit more substantial and then actually belonged to the game overall. But everything is the same as was originally in version 1, and it also comes with the updated class with the Raider class. Raider class works a little bit differently. That's something I'll go over closer to the end of the video. I figure I'll just show you kind of what the board looks like right now. Underneath that, you have all of your scout tokens, or your scout sheets, I should say. And once again, I mean, they all are that nice thick material that I wish that the other action board was made out of. Yeah, I mean, everything is really well made, and the overall presentation is just absolutely stunning. All right, so now that we've gone through the overall unboxing, I wanted to kind of show you guys what exactly is included in Treacherous Skies. So starting from the left-hand side, we have the new black market space, as well as everything that you can claim from the black market space, treasures, how much they're worth, things that your ship can actually do now, very similar to the ship action card, and then also the contracts that you can collect while you're at the black market. So you have your treasures. One thing that the expansion did include was 2 new crew members that you can grab. So for your standard ships, you can now get a trim master as well as a stevedore. And then for the Raider class specifically, you can get the smuggler or the hunter. This one crew member particularly is only for the Raider class. Moving on to the middle, we have our Kulkra with the one versus all actions, as well as the Kulkra action. You can see we have the Kulkra model, the blue crester that's now included, that sits at the 3rd elevation with the Kulkra, and then the white crester that comes with the game. Additionally, we have, it's kind of a really nice additive to the overall gameplay map, because if you guys are familiar with the original, the drift tiles on the map are a part of the actual map and sometimes can get lost visually when you're trying to move around the board. And so what they did was they made these 3D tiles that sit on top of those spaces, but also act as a means for you to explore and find treasures and things like that underneath when you go across the map. Sometimes you'll find encounters. So for this example, you would have pulled the blue crester and then gone on about it that way. But basically it opens up a whole entire new avenue of gameplay that you're able to do with the 3rd elevation class, which is the Scout. So the whole idea and the whole premise of this expansion is the inclusion of the 3rd elevation, basically dictating how different battles take place. So if you recall from the first game, you have longboats which reside on the 1st level along with the gray cresters. You have your player ships that reside on the 2nd level along with red cresters and white cresters, as well as the space stations. And then now you have the 3rd elevation for scouts, as well as the blue and the Kulkra spaces that are available. And the only way that you're able to achieve exploring these tokens is at the 3rd elevation. Moving on, we have the new Raider class as well as its board. And basically what's different is the Raider class. I don't know if you guys noticed in the unboxing video, the Raider class doesn't have any longboats. And the reason for that is now they have a treasure exchange. So it's very valuable for the Raider class to be collecting treasures rather than going after gray cresters. And so that plays into a whole nother avenue, as well as the Raider class itself being able to change its elevation to third or a single elevation to go after both longboats or scouts, which is really an interesting advantage. You have your scout board, where your scout has additional moves. It kind of works like a longboat, where you do have to dictate scout speed in order to be able to move your scout ship. And then finally, one of the biggest inclusions, I think, was a great idea of event cards that the expansion improved upon. So basically, at the beginning of every round, you're able to implement a new event card that can either make or break your decisions playing the game. And it really adds quite a bit of fun gameplay to the original game. All right, we've reached the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for coming along for the unboxing, as well as kind of going through some of the components of the game and my overall thoughts. I think the expansion was a great addition to the original game. It's kind of its own entity at this point in time, but it really did add a lot of playability and really neat kind of world building elements to the game that I enjoy. I know just reading through some forums and stuff like that, people kind of have their own opinion that it just wasn't really for their group of gamers, and I totally get that. But it just kind of speaks to my soul a little bit, and really hope you get a chance to enjoy it. In terms of some of the setbacks, I do think that the rule book itself is fairly sparse on knowledge when it comes to trying to figure out certain things and certain elements as to what happens in certain encounters. I did find that I had to hop online and hop into the forums and talk with other players and kind of get like a generalized idea of what the community was leaning towards. You kind of have to jump outside your element to find the proper rules and wordage for what you're trying to do in game. And so I do think that can kind of take you out of the element. One of my other critiques is that I kind of mentioned earlier is the inclusion of the metal treasure tokens. As of right now, the only way that you can get anything from Eldorado Games is through their Kickstarter campaigns. They don't offer any sort of external way to buy additional battle dice or buy additional treasure tokens, buy another play mat or anything like that if you are having issues with your pieces and or want to improve and upgrade and add those things to your arsenal. They don't really have any way to allow users to do that other than having once again to go to external markets or make something yourself. So that is definitely a downside, and wish they had included those metal treasure tokens from the beginning and then allowed additionals to be added to the overall board. So it's been a little while, guys, since FGTV has been on YouTube and creating some content, but I figured I'd hop on in and do something new and different and jump back into the swing of things. So in any case, don't forget to flex those fingers, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.